A new story, a new face. Hi, Joy Tribe, and welcome to my new podcast. This is episode 1 in A Joyful Life. So, this is a brand new podcast featuring yours truly, Joy Villa. And we will be talking about relationships, music, film, anything that floats my boat, and hopefully yours too. So, today we're going to talk about relationships because it's one of the things that has been on my mind a lot. You guys know that I moved recently from the UK. Some of you guys know that. And I said, where did I move? I asked you guys on my live show, which I do on my YouTube channel every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard. And I said, where did I move to? And a lot of you guys guessed all different types of states, all different types of places. And I was in the United Kingdom for 2 years. And, I traveled because I was working on 2 feature films. One was in Barcelona and some other projects in the UK, some charity projects. I did some charity concerts and worked with my friend's charity. Before that, I was in South Africa. So, your girl likes to travel around. She may be an American girl, but she likes to travel. You know what I'm saying? So I just moved back to Los Angeles for a month. I was in LA for a month doing some different things, meeting with my team and different people. And I'm sort of in this rebranding, retooling, like honesty kick, honestly. Like I'm going to be very honest with you guys, Joy Tribe. And that's what I want a joyful life to be about. This one will be very honest and real. And we'll talk about different things that, you like to hear about. And we'll talk about what I'm going through and how it can relate and hopefully help you function in life better, because my goal is to help you live a better life. And I want to remind you how to be more efficient, more powerful, and more strong in your whole life. Now, I'm going to open up a drink here. For those of you who are watching, you can see this is a LaCroix. Can you hear that? Ooh, that's nice. Let me do some ASMR here. Now, in my headphones, that was very loud. I don't know if you could hear. This is a black raspberry flavor, just to wet the whistle a little bit. And I got my nails did. I got my hair done, nails done, everything did, just my nails. And so I always love it. I say this with all humor, but also reality is like the worse I feel, the better I like to look. Do you girls know what I'm talking about? Guys too. Sometimes we put on our pretty dresses when we're not feeling so good. This is a bit high waisted. I'm looking like I'm all right, there we go. Anyways, so as I was saying, I'm going through a time in my life where I'm rebranding and sort of redoing things and touring and working on new music. So it's been very exciting. Excuse me while I take a refreshing sip of water. And I really wanted to bring to you guys a new flavor. That's what a joyful life is about. So this will be released every Friday. It's my new podcast, A Joyful Life, and we'll talk about relationships. We eventually will have some experts here where I'll interview people. We'll talk about anything you want to hear about. So make sure you leave comments down below. And if you're listening to this online, then that you will, maybe it's on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, that you will contact me and leave a comment. So I welcome all feedback at joyvillaproductions@gmail.com. All right, let's talk about relationships in this episode. This is going to be, about relationships. And so I opened this up by saying I've been moving around a lot. And one of the things that I have done is self reflect because, I am a divorced woman. It feels like some sort of weird branding when you're divorced, but it is something that I don't feel like you should think of the failure of your marriage, even though at the time it did feel like that. But honestly, think of the success of you as a human being and them as a human being and us as a spiritual being, our higher consciousness as spiritual beings, being able to recognize that that wasn't the right thing for both of you. And it really does take that. We didn't have children, and that was one of the disagreements that we had. I wanted children, he didn't. And, I pray for his safety and blessing every day. And, it's something where I'm incredibly blessed to know that I don't have to think of it as a loss, even though I did have to grieve my marriage. Many of you guys will have to have grieved the death of your marriage. My divorce saves. Some of you might have celebrated being divorced. To me, I have no judgment on it. I think it's a very personal decision that you have to make for yourself. And I would much rather somebody be happily divorced than unhappily married. Now, even I wouldn't say even, but unless there's children in the picture, then you always try to work it out to the best of your abilities, and go above and beyond for the children. And I do know many couples who've done that and happily have stayed together and worked through their differences. But it's something that happens a lot, especially to artists. And I am in the la la land. I may not physically be in Hollywood. I didn't tell you guys where I live. Did I open this up with a lot of you guessing? Well, I live in Florida now. I moved to the great state of Florida, and I intend to be here for the next few years and make this my home base. We're actually going through hurricane season right now, and it is predicted to be a hurricane outside as I'm recording this podcast. So we will see what happens. And hopefully, I won't have to release this as the backup for tomorrow's live show. Well, if you're listening to this will be on a Friday, but I do my shows on Wednesday, but I recorded this on a Tuesday, just so you know. And yeah, so I live in Florida now. And it's something that has been really incredible to see that I do want a relationship coming back around, and I want someone who is as genuine and as valuable to the world as I see myself as. And I want a man of God, a godly man, but who also has a spiritual essence that he, follows, and that it's not just because it's not just a word alone. Anyone can call themselves a Christian or call themselves whatever, but it's what do their actions do? And I want someone who is less materialistic, but is more spiritual and who can be really kind of evolved in a sense. And I say these things not to say that I'm talking about any of my exes, but I'm actually talking about myself because I was that person who did put more focus on materialism at some point in my life. And I don't deny that that was very important to me. And I think it is important to have nice material things. It is important to have money. It is important to have nice stuff, and to look good, but it's important to how you treat people. And I've always put that first. And there was a few moments in my life where I felt like I wasn't, and I had to backtrack, go back, do the inner work. And that's really what I did a lot of. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very pro therapy, pro spiritual work, pro journaling and getting out there. These are things I do to be healthy mentally as well as physically. Working out is really good for the body. Getting your hair done, your nails done, getting your, whatever you do to make your body feel good and look good can make you feel good, putting on a nice suit or a nice dress or your favorite jacket, taking some selfies. These are important things. Working your career and your passions. I did a lot of charity work, which really helped me. I also got a little bit lost in charity work for a while and felt like I lost a relationship with myself as someone who was put on this planet, put on this earth to be great. So there's a balance. There's a balance between charity and helping others, and there's a balance between helping yourself and saying, well, my career can also be charity because the greater I am, the greater I can shine, and the greater I can shine, the more I can help people. So remember, it's not selfish to actually be focused on yourself sometimes. To actually be focused on yourself means you are putting yourself forward as the being that you should be, that God created you to be. It doesn't mean you put yourself ahead of others as in you step on them, but you do have to put the the oxygen mask on your face before you put it on others. So a friendly reminder. So I'm feeling kind of high energy today. It is an interesting mood, thinking about relationships. We've kind of covered relationships with yourself, relationships with the world. Romantic relationships is something that all of us yearn for. And I do believe, I've dated long term. That's been my thing. And I've dated short term before too. Long term relationships can be one of the most satisfying things you can have. The most satisfying thing I believe is finding your soulmate that you want to create with, that you love and spoil and cherish, and they do the same for you. And it really truly is 100-100. It's not 50-50 Joy Tribe. It's 100-100. You give 100%, they give 100%. So remember that too. I'd love to hear from you guys in the audience. How many of you are single? Looking to mingle? How many of you are happily married? Maybe some of you are unhappily married. That's okay to admit. How many of you have relationships? And maybe some of you are happily single, not looking to mingle. There are different strokes for different folks. I believe that it really depends on the person, and when you are ready to meet someone, you will do the things that are necessary. I'm a big proponent of feminine energy and masculine energy. Women, do not forget to be in your feminine energy. I have studied feminine energy for years now, and it helped me in the dating game. When I got divorced, I was like, I don't know how to get back into this dating scene. I was taken for 7 years. It's like, how do I get back in? And it's one of those things a lot of people have to deal with. And it really is, you have to go on a lot of dates. You do have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to communicate your wants, desires, and needs, and to know who you are and to know what you want. And that is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly powerful when you are out there communicating your wants and needs. Beloveds, do not slack on that. Now, that doesn't mean you push the other person's wants and needs down. A lot of people get this selfish idea, the social media idea of like, I want a man who's this and this and this and this. My woman needs to do this, and and they get this long laundry list where their significant other is supposed to have every single thing that they don't have. And I'm like, you also got to come correct too. You got to bring something to the table. That's a supposedly like a very controversial thing to ask someone what they bring to the table. I'm gonna take a drink. Is that ASMR? It's ASMR to me with my headphones in my ear. So maybe you guys are getting that too. Um, but yeah, it's a interesting thing. A lot of people feel that they can't ask what someone else brings to the table, or they're not allowed to be curious about the other person without feeling like it's insulting. And I know a lot of people, I would probably say the divide between men and women is one of the largest right now. It's really it's an artificially created divide because we love each other. Men and women go so well together, and when you have your energy present, when you are a masculine man standing in your masculine frame, and there are masculine traits and that you embody. And when you are a feminine woman standing in your feminine energy and you have those traits, it really makes a difference. And even same sex couples, one will be masculine, one will be feminine. It's funny, it's a dichotomy that everybody needs and wants and desires. And it's really the difference between a relationship that works and a relationship that doesn't. So, what do I mean by that? We're going to break this down, okay? What is masculine energy? Masculine energy, by the way, men and women have both energies in them, and we use it for different things. So, masculine energy is hard energy. It is driving energy. It is going after it. It is boy energy. It is, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take control. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to defeat it. I'm going to fight it. I am going to conquer. It is a conquering energy. It's extremely powerful. It's very fiery, and it's very in the forefront. And masculine energy is a doingness. You do it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it. I see it. I want it. I like it. I bought it. I got it. And it's something where it's incredibly energizing energy. It's that forward push energy. It's a pushing, moving, cultivating, really going after what you want. When you say, I'm going to go get it, I'm going to go after it, that's masculine energy. I'm going to take charge of the room with the energy. I am going to fill the room with energy, and I'm going to take over energetically or physically or emotionally. And that is masculine. And I am going to pervade this space. It's a very leadering energy that doesn't stop. It doesn't wait. Sometimes it doesn't look and before it jumps, before it leaps, but it can also be an incredible push towards something. So that is all positive masculine energy. Negative masculine energy is doesn't stop to think, doesn't let anything in, only pushes things out, is always hard, is very rigid, is non moving, non emotional, cannot see that someone else's needs may also be a part of this equation, pushes out instead of receiving in. It can show up as someone like never letting boys don't cry, right? Never letting a man cry. It can show up as a woman has to be tough in order to get what she wants. A man has to never let him see your guard down. It can show up as like the hater's going to hate. These can be negative aspects of a very positive and driving good force, a force for good. Every energy has good or bad. It really is good as just the most good the most useful that something can be that does the least harm. That's all good is. Something that does the most harm would be bad, right? So in terms of good or bad, that's what we're talking about here. Not I'm not talking about some, moral good or bad. It really just depends on, is it going to do more harm or is it going to do more help? Does it help or does it harm? And that's really what we talk about in terms of good and bad for the philosophy of this masculine feminine energy. All right, in relationships in general. So, and that is really truly a great philosophy no matter what you're looking at. Does it do more harm or does it do more good? For instance, I don't know, going on, OnlyFans, putting your pictures on OnlyFans, you could say, how could that be harmful? I make money. So that does good, right? I make money, I can buy things, it does good. But if you don't take into account the harm it can do, as in your pictures of your poo-tang are up there on the internet forever, you are forever seen as that person. Um, this is a temporary high that can be lead to a very low low. It's very numbing. It's cutting off your energy as far as creating a mate. There's a lot of bad in it, and when you look at the overall picture, it actually does more harm than good. It does more harm than help. The help would be money, right? That's why a lot of people who do these kind of things, and I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but people who go into this sort of things, especially in relationships, they do more harm ultimately. They're told it's good, but they do more harm for all their dynamics, right? For all their sense of what they pursue and what they have and want, and their desires. You cannot just look at one thing. Oh, well, it helps me do this. Yeah, but does it harm you? Drugs, the same way. It helps keep me awake at night, so then I can work harder. But it defeats the purpose by destroying your body. It can destroy relationships, addiction. It's very expensive. The list goes on, right? So does it cost more than it feeds? Because also that's the thing too. If you hire somebody for cheap or you date somebody who, well, they were available, but they're going to hurt you more, you're going to sacrifice more. Is it worth the cost, right? So that would be bad. Doesn't mean that person's bad. It just means they're not right for you. They're bad for you in essence rather than good for you. So, is it harmful? Is it healthy? Is it helpful? Is it harmful? That's what we're going to look at, good or bad. Got it? Good. So, as far as relationships, masculine. So that was a masculine. Feminine energy is nurturing, it's giving. It's actually, excuse me, it's receiving, not giving. That's the masculine, to give, to receive. Feminine energy is warm, it's receiving, it's looking at things before making a decision. It's pulling from, I feel this is good. I sense, it's sensing. It's a very ah, kind of energy. It's calming, it's nurturing, it's masculine energy is very protecting as well, which is a positive thing. But for feminine energy, it's the opposite of masculine. It's soft. It receives, it nurtures, it perceives, it takes its time, it flows, it doesn't hard drive and push forward. It pulls in, it perceives and pulls in. It's the opposite. It's the yin and the yang, right? So I forgot which is which, but this is the opposite energy of masculine. Feminine energy is a softness, a roundness, a slowness. It luxuriates. It lets things happen as they're going to happen. It lets things fall in place. It doesn't have to come into the space and conquer at all, but it receives, right? It permeates the space with a gentle breeze rather than a gushing wind. So it is a very soft, gentle, sensing, sensual, as in all the senses energy. It's beautiful. Being a woman, I love using my feminine energy. Now, that's the positive. The negative is it can be over emotional, unstable, a whiny, a girlish, heartbreaking energy where it's naivete. It's an energy where it can not make a decision out of fear. It won't, let somebody um lead because it's scared to move. It can be very pulling away. Well, that's also masculine to pull away, but that can also be a feminine trait. Instead of receiving or moving forward, it can be stuck and just sort of, I mean, to be honest, that's more masculine. Now that I look at it, a stuck energy, a stuck flow would be more masculine. But in this sense, it would be a non action energy. If you can say a negative non-action, right? It's not necessarily stuck, it's just not, it's immovable, or it's too movable, it's too permeable. It loses its structure. So it could be too, that's that emotional instability, that's that hormonal, I don't know who I am breakdowns. That is the negative feminine energy. Prone to emotional flare ups that have no logic or sense to them. So you can see how both equally have good and equally have bad. And men and women have masculine and feminine energy in both of us. By the way, we have to use both of them in certain instances. Like if you have a person who's going to get hurt and you tell them get out the road and you jump in front of the car to make sure that they don't get hit, or you push them out the road, that's a very protecting action, strong energy. That's masculine, but that must play to protect somebody, and a woman can just as well do that as a man. That is not gender specific. So and some men have more masculine or more feminine traits, and vice versa, but every man will do better in his masculine. Every woman will do better in her feminine because that is how we were created. It is, no matter what. I don't care if it's controversial. This is the truth, and it has been for ages. So when you can use it, now there is um, a way where a man can seem like he's using feminine energy, but it is still masculine. Like, for instance, when he listens and receives a woman, or a man when they need help, and he that, like, that stoic listening without reacting. That's a very masculine trait that can seem like it's a comforting, because men can also be comforters, and women can be like a mama bear and protect it, and that can be the strong motherly feminine energy. So there are ways where it can look like, well, is that masculine? Is that feminine? But for the sake of relationships, let's look at the more extreme cases, right? We live in a masculine world. It's a very manly masculine world. But we also live in a world that is trying to feminize men and demonize masculinity. And that's not the way to do it, rather than uplift femininity. See, we even demonize femininity in women. If a woman chooses to wear modest clothing, dresses, look very feminine, have a soft speaking voice, a sensuous speaking voice, except that she is sensual rather than hard sexualized, we demonize those women. We say, well, why would you do that? Don't you want to accept your sexuality and be bold, girl? Get out there, yas, queen. Unfortunately, this is a generality, but in society, we don't lift those type of women up. When's the last time you saw a pop star wearing a full length dress, with a flower in her hair, which at the time of this recording is exactly what I'm wearing right now. And I don't say that to be better than anyone, but I say that to say I'm in my feminine energy. Now I can be a very strong, fiery woman, and I can use, and I do, my masculine energy as well for good when I need to get things done. But I go by the adage, I almost said adage, I almost spoke French too, but the adage that you can get more flies with honey rather than vinegar. And that is feminine energy. That is using charisma and style and suave. That's a feminine trait to just be like charming someone and, use a little aesthetic and a wink and, oh, thank you, and receive a politeness and why, thank you so much. That's a feminine wiles. They used to say the feminine wiles. A man can do that too and charm a woman that way. Yeah, I need you to open up the door. Thank you. That's a very masculine go-getter, get it done, give an order. And a woman needs to do that often as well. Unfortunately, right now in the corporate world, women are encouraged to be like that, to be successful. And it's simply not true. When a woman is in her feminine and dresses, lives, breathes, and is sensual, and it can be expressed in many different ways, but that femininity, it's like when we can let our shoulders down and let a man do for us, it is the most beautiful thing. And I tell you, ladies, men love it when you let them be men. Let men be men. Let boys be boys. Let women be women. Let girls be girls. This is what's wrong in today's society. And this is the unbalance. When a woman is not in her feminine, she will take on too much responsibility and she will put guards up. She'll take responsibility that should be given to the man. She'll start protecting the house and taking on things where she's forced to be the masculine breadwinner, taker, take charge person. And when you have a man there who's sitting on the couch and not doing anything because you're doing everything for him, you are being the man, sweetheart. But if you stop that and let him take charge, he will feel better about himself as well as you will. A lot of women get too much into that because they're, as mothers, they're taking care of the kids and they're doing this and then they're doing that. And you need to relax and let your husband do some things. He might do it slower, but you have to let him do it his way because masculine energy moves very different than feminine energy. Just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should, honey. And I'm speaking to women who know in their power and they know what I'm talking about is true. This might be ruffling some of your feathers and it might be undoing some of the spiritual knots that are tying you down. I hope it does. If it speaks to you, fantastic. If you disagree with it, fantastic. It makes no matter to me. I want you to be able to receive the messages that are meant to be received to you. And if you disagree, that's all right. We can still be friends. We can still be in the joy tribe. You can still live a joyful life. So, the best way to activate your feminine energy as a woman is to think with feelings. I feel good. And to think with what does my body feel like? Are my shoulders tense or am I dropping my shoulders? Can I feel the texture of my hair? Literally feelings, but also feelings as in how do I feel emotions? And think with I feel. And a lot of times I also see on the flip side that men a lot will make fun of women for saying, I feel like, because they'll do it in a way. Sometimes these women are saying, like, but I feel like you don't care, which, but it's used as a statement to try to say you don't care. And a man will resent that if you say it like that rather than, I feel a bit lost. You see how different that is? I feel confused rather than, I feel like you don't care. I feel like you're not doing anything. That's the wrong way to use I feel. Because it puts a man on the defense, and it's also like, "Well, okay, that's how you feel, what can I do about it?" Rather than, "I feel confused when you text me only after 12 because I really wanted to get to know you deeper." Right? And then the man goes, "Oh, well, I thought that you liked that." "Well, I understand that, but I'd like us to get closer, emotionally, not just physically. Would you like that?" You see how feminine and soft that is? And using it rather than saying, what you need to do is this. And I'm going to tell you that you cannot bark orders like that at a man. If you want a man to do something, you need to do it. Ask him in your feminine. Now, of course, a lot of women are going to say, well, what if he works for me and I'm the boss? Okay, that's a different thing. That's a work relationship. We're talking about romantic relationships. But even at work, I've done this with my male assistants or people I've worked with, and I've been gentle and elegant in my suggestion, but still firm. That doesn't mean getting all walked over, not the negative feminine traits. We're talking about positive feminine traits. Allowing a man to have space, allowing him to be right, and a woman too, because many women are in their masculine. So they'll come at you like a man. And if you say, I understand, how I'm feeling right now is a bit overwhelmed. So I'd like us to take one thing at a time. When somebody's yelling or barking orders at you or overwhelming you, try that rather than don't come at me some kind of way or stop it. Hey, you need to back off. This very aggressive energy is going to get more aggressive energy. And that's unfortunately what we have in this world today. We're at war with one another in relationships. We're at war, left versus right, Muslim versus Christian, black versus white. I could write a song about this. Maybe I will have to, but you guys know you can get my music on Spotify, Bandcamp, and joyvilla.com, wherever fine music is sold. And check it out. It's on Bandcamp, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music. But I do have a song called Freedom. You got to fight for it. You do have to fight for your freedom, but you don't fight against people. And my philosophy has always been, let's talk it out. Let's communicate. And this is the problem. What we have here is a failure to communicate. We're not communicating because a man is communicating to a woman as if she's a man because that's how he thinks, and a woman's communicating to a man as if he's a woman because that's how she thinks. And we're all telling the other person that they're wrong for feeling or thinking the way they do when in reality they're just different. They're just different than us, and that's okay. We have to let them be different. You'll get much more done if you let your children, your friends, your spouses, your dating partner, your brothers or sisters be themselves and give them that space and that breathing room and really recognize that they're different than you, especially if they're the opposite gender. And recognize, you know what? This man is a masculine man and I'm gonna make it right rather than making it a wrong thing. We have this toxic masculinity thing. Masculinity in its true form can never be toxic, just like femininity in its true form can never be toxic. There can be negative aspects of it, but that is not truly a man in his masculine or a woman in her feminine. Those negative aspects are things that are unfortunately trauma that come up for either gender, and it's an expression of trauma. So it's important. There goes the drink again, a little fizzy, fizzy. It's important that we embrace who we are, why we were created on this planet, and what we came here to do. And if you were born into a female body or a male body, it's important for you to know that that body is going to have certain energy systems that will be better if you use it rather than use against it, work against it. Now, I mean, I'm not getting into sexual expression or what somebody identifies because that's not the point here. The point is, it is always going to be healthier for a female, a woman, to be in her feminine energy. And you have to do this in the dating market. When a man compliments you, accept it. It's okay, even if it's a bum, even if it's the dude on the street. And you look pretty today. Just say thank you, because you do own it. And don't feel like, oh no, I don't, I don't look good. I didn't even wash my hair and I didn't, don't self-deprecate. It's very unattractive to do that. And it cuts your feminine reach and your feminine energy. Man, when you have a chance to do something for someone, do it. Open that door, grab those bags, ask if you can walk the person across the street. The old ladies, do things. That's the best way for you to get into your masculine energy. And women realizing that if you want a man to do something, ask him gently and compliment him when he does it. Positive reinforcement gets you so far. We do this with our children. Why can't we do it with our spouses? We forget that we're kind of growing up together. When you get married or you're in a relationship, you're growing up with that person because it is a growing thing. You're going to have a lot of trauma that's going to get thrown in your face when you're with this person. They're going to be reminding you of your ex and your other situations. So have care and love and compassion when you date someone or when you're getting there. This is my message. So I've been single before. I've had long-term relationships. I've been married. I've had a lot of experience, but it's not just about my experience. It's really about the laws of this universe and how it operates. Whether I had been married my whole life or never married, these laws would still be the same. This is how they've been for thousands of years. And again, this doesn't stop you from being a very powerful feminine woman or powerful masculine man or gentle masculine man. You can still be an artist and a stay-at-home dad and a quiet poet and be in your masculine. That doesn't mean anything, or if you wear pink suits, it doesn't make you less masculine. It's really, truly an energetic expression, and it may express itself through physical things. Like I said, when a woman wears a dress or flowers or bright colors, that is more feminine, absolutely. Just like if a man wears, a suit or like a more, hard, like a leather jacket is a more of a masculine style. But ultimately, you can be dressed fully feminine and be a masculine woman. You can be in a dress and heels and red lipstick. And this is what we have: women out there who look very beautiful. They are very beautiful on the outside. They look very feminine, feminine bodies. They spend a lot of money for surgery, a lot of money for enhancements. The nails done, the hair, the lips, everything is done. Everything looks juicy and beautiful, but they are fully in their masculine. They bark orders. They go around, cheat like a man. They want to own things like a man. They want to get money, get biatches, get money. They want to go out there and act like a man. And it's atrocious because they would get so much further if they use their feminine energy. Ladies, when you use your feminine energy, it is unbeatable power. It is so nice and it feels so good. Your skin clears up. You stop attracting. I know. You stop attracting fights and drama when you just drop your shoulders down and allow a man to do something for you in any capacity. This is not just romantic. This is in any capacity. And men are so much better when they're in their masculine. Unfortunately, we do have an unbalance of the genders going on right now, of the energetic expressions right now. This is something that does hurt my heart because there are men even that look very masculine, but they act like silly, scared little girls. And this is not an insult to girls, but to the guys. They ghost women and they'll, poke and prod and try to get what they want. They'll emotionally manipulate, but they look very masculine, very strong on the outside. And then they'll leave these women feeling brokenhearted and they'll be slime bags. They'll take advantage, and these, just like the women who are like, they'll look pretty, they'll attract these guys, and then they'll just step all over these nice guys and be, jerks. So it's equal bad on both sides, unfortunately. But what I want and what I pray and what I work towards is for us to release more positivity on this planet. That is the way we need to go. That's prayer, that's focus, that's journaling, that's, to me, bright colors and healthy food and, organic farming and singing and music and smiles and children and animals and just like wholesome, feel good, taking care of our elders and respect and biblical truths. I mean, whatever your faith expression is, it's all beautiful. It's more faith expressions. It's more, religious expressions and spiritual expressions on this planet. It's more acceptance. It's more communication. The answer is always more communication, not less. The answer is always more communication, never less. And on that note, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to love you and leave you. This is A Joyful Life, the new podcast by Joyvilla. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you will stay with us, and I'll see you next Friday in the next show. I invite you to join me on YouTube, youtube.com/MissJoyVilla, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, 3 p.m. Pacific, for a live discussion on many different things. And of course, next Friday, I will see you right here. Download, share, like, subscribe, wherever you're consuming this lovely content that I created for you free of charge. Please support your local creator. Send something my way, some love, some tips, some prayers. You can go to joyvilla.com, shoot me an email. If you'd like to be on the show or you have some comments, disagreements, communication, joyvillaproductions@gmail.com. I love you, Joy Tribe, and go out there and create some beautiful relationships. Bye. 'Cause so
A new story, a